Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering woke companies panic, fire employees, and lose investors over massive racism lawsuits. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. Two companies are in severe trouble because of their absolute ridiculous discrimination in handing out grants to small business entrepreneurs. This is from Inc. magazine. It all fell apart. Fearless Fund founder on Impact of DEI Lawsuits. And from TechCrunch, here's what the Fearless Fund lawsuit could mean for venture capital. From the Houston Chronicle, Houston financial company fighting lawsuit brought by Trump-related firm. On the Fearless Fund website themselves, this is the company that's the most egregious in terms of their discrimination. They make it clear that if you're white or if you're not a black woman, because Asian doesn't even count, you need not apply to try to raise money with their company. From their website, Fearless Fund considers investments in early-stage, high-growth ventures that meet the following criteria. First criteria, women of color led, at least one woman of color co-founder with significant equity in the company. If that's not you, you're not allowed to apply. That's for companies they invest in. The lawsuit is over grants that they're giving out to small businesses. Those grants, which are essentially free money, are small, like $20,000. But also, if you're not a black woman, you're not entitled to that grant. By definition, you don't count. You don't exist. If that sounds racist to you, it also sounded racist to this guy, Edward Blum, the guy who got race-based admissions thrown out of colleges at the Supreme Court. Not his first win, won't be his last win. That's who's going up against the Fearless Fund. Similarly, Hello Alice is another company that decided to give out grants only to specific people of only specific skin colors of only specific genders. Also illegal. Being sued by Stephen Miller, former advisor to President Trump and head of America First Legal. From Inc. It all fell apart. Fearless Fund founder on Impact of DEI Lawsuits. As conservative groups continue to go after DEI-based grant programs, the firms that provide them, including Fearless Fund and Hello Alice, are struggling, and they promise to fight back. It's been roughly 6 months since conservative groups began suing companies and investment firms that offer grant programs exclusively to what they call historically disadvantaged groups, literally singling people out by skin color and gender, calling the funding discriminatory and therefore unlawful. Fearless Fund CEO Arian Simone, that's this lady, revealed in an interview with Inc. that the conservative strategy is essentially working and that her organization is on the ropes. The firm, which launched in 2019 and grew to a team of 19, has since scaled back to 6 employees. Quote, "It fell apart due to litigation," says Simone. "You're talking millions of dollars we've lost, and it's truly impacting our operations." Back in August, the American Alliance for Equal Rights, a nonprofit membership organization led by conservative litigator Edward Blum, sued Simone's Fearless Fund, an Atlanta-based venture firm. The suit claimed the Fearless Fund's grant program geared towards funding black women entrepreneurs, and only black women entrepreneurs, violated a section of the Civil Rights Act of 1866, which of course it does. The law, which was initially put in place to protect the right of anyone to win contracts regardless of race, is now being used to dismantle a private money effort designed to correct the imbalance of funding to historically disadvantaged groups. Okay, just so we understand here, it's not really privately funded money in the first place. Why they think that protects them, I don't know, because it's still not legal. But Fearless Fund has gotten investments from very large companies. To say they're privately funded is to say, oh, well, you didn't get funding from Bank of America or Costco or General Mills or PayPal or MasterCard. Oh, well, yeah, we did. Like, all right, well, then why are you saying you're privately funded? Why? Because Fearless Fund is not a public company? You're using public money funds in a private company to discriminate against entrepreneurs based on their skin color and their race. That's what you're doing. It's not legal, and of course you're going to lose. The lawsuit came 2 months after the firm received multi-million-dollar investments from Bank of America, Costco, and MasterCard in June 2023 to, quote, financially support and provide resources for women of color. Now, the big companies like Bank of America, Costco that finance this company to do these things they're doing should also be liable for this. They might not be. It depends on how kind Edward Blum decides he wants to be. But it's obvious what they're participating in is not legal. When I say it's obvious, it sounds wrong. It feels wrong. It is wrong. It's an absolute clear violation of civil rights law. They can't do this, yet they're doing it. And they wonder why they're getting sued. For context, Black and Latino women entrepreneurs receive 0.1% of venture capital funds, according to a 2023 study from McKinsey & Company. You know, when you try to raise money from an investor, and I've raised money from an investor before, they don't ask you what your skin color is. They actually want to look at your business plan, and they want to understand, like, well, what are you doing? What do you hope to do? Are you capable of doing it? What have you already accomplished? They're trying to mitigate their risk so they can get a return on investment. They don't actually look at you and see if you're represented or not. They just want to see a coherent plan. Following the lawsuit, a judicial panel officially blocked the Fearless Fund from awarding $10,000 to $20,000 and business development services to early-stage Black woman-owned businesses as part of the firm's Fearless Strivers grant program. The grant program is now on hold. This idea of giving these $10,000 and $20,000 grants to small entrepreneurs is not a bad idea. It's a good idea, especially if you're in the venture capital business. Why is that? Investment is a lot about seeing the level of dedication and passion and intelligence of the person you're investing in. So if you spread $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 across 15 or 20 people, one of those people might actually wind up being a really successful entrepreneur. As a grant, you're not going to own any part of their company. But as a venture capital company, you will know that person, you'll have a relationship with that person, and when they go looking to expand their business, you can then come in and make a very good deal for yourself, potentially, and for the entrepreneur, and use that as like a source of leads to build up your venture capital opportunities to invest in. It's a good strategy, it's just you can't discriminate against people based on their gender or skin color. Diversity, equity, and inclusion funding is drying up. Over the past 4 years, the Fearless Fund has partnered with corporations to supply diverse business owners with $3.7 million in grants. Now, according to Simone, all but 2 of the firm's partners have backed out. Now, I don't know the Fearless Fund. It looks like what they're doing, though, is they're utilizing these corporate partners to finance the grants and saying, hey, look at me. I'm popular. I have publicity. We can find you Black female entrepreneurs. Big company, you finance the grants. We'll find the people to give the money to. The big companies, for them, it's not a lot of money. They don't really care. And for the Fearless Fund, they have relationships with these entrepreneurs. It's clever. It just shouldn't be done in a racist way. Quote, I didn't plan for this, she says. I'm definitely equipped for it, but I didn't prepare for the mental and emotional toll this has taken on me and my team. Simone adds that the venture side of the firm is also struggling. Since she started the fund in 2019 with co-founder and chief operating officer Ayanna Parsons, it's invested nearly $27 million in roughly 40 women-owned businesses, including fast-growing startups, Slutty Vegan, yep, that's the name of the company, Slutty Vegan, and Partake Foods. Before the lawsuit, the pair expected to raise another 8-figure round of funding to continue their investments. Since the lawsuit began, however, they haven't raised a single dollar. Don't they have Black investors that really believe in them? You know, Oprah, Jay-Z? I'm surprised people don't believe in them. The Fearless Fund isn't the only capital provider facing financial hardship following lawsuits. After right-leaning nonprofit America First Legal sued Hello Alice, an online platform for business owners, claiming its grant program for Black-owned small trucking companies was discriminatory, co-founder Elizabeth Gore says the company recently had to lay off 69% of its workforce. Why are you letting all of your people go? Why are you guys fighting people that are actually incredibly sharp? Edward Blum took on Harvard, took on affirmative action, and actually won in the Supreme Court. You really think you're going up against Edward Blum, and you're going to beat Edward Blum? And then here's the lady from Hello Alice, Elizabeth Gore. She seems like a nice enough lady. It doesn't sound like a bad idea for a business. Hello Alice is not focused on specific racial targets. They just did this one stupid program that, yeah, they should not have done. What they should do is pick up the phone and apologize to Stephen Miller and say, hey, look, I'm sorry if I offended you, Stephen Miller. Would you please stop suing me so I can stop laying off all my other employees? She's laid off 69% of her employees to defend a stupid program where they're giving grants to only Black truck drivers or whatever, 10 at like $25,000. 10 tiny grants of a couple of $100,000 combined. She's losing her entire business over it. To defend racism, it's inexplicable, and people are losing their jobs over this. Fearless Fund is different than Hello Alice because Fearless Fund, their entire operation is discriminatory. Hello Alice is not operating that way. Hello Alice will do business with you if you're white or Asian. Here's what Hello Alice's website says they do. Step into our story. Small business ownership is a strange and special journey that calls out only the bravest, most curious, and obsessively driven. In other words, entrepreneurs, adventurers, you. Okay, Hello Alice. That's compelling. I don't see anything about race here. Also, as I'm on your website, I happen to see some white people. I see a black person. Okay, you got a nice mix there. Here, I have another picture. A white person, a black person, looks like a Hispanic person. Fantastic. For Hello Alice to be destroying themselves over this, it doesn't make any logical sense. And this is why investors have to be careful when you're dealing with social justice people. It's not just that the Hello Alice company is getting destroyed. It's not just that the Fearless Fund is getting destroyed. There are investors who put their money into these companies. There are entrepreneurs that took money from the Fearless Fund with the promise and the expectation they would have a continuing relationship with this company when they needed extra money or if they needed help. And in the meantime, the Fearless Fund can't raise $1, not even from Oprah, not from a sports star, not from anyone who is a black person who wants to support other black entrepreneurs. Multiple companies could go up in flames over this, all over an inexplicable passion to be racist. Back to Hello Alice. It still breaks my heart, actually, says Gore, who launched the company in 2017. It happened right before the holidays in December, and we had to lay off people who have been with us for years. Onslaught of litigation expected. Gore says the lawsuit has also greatly impacted her ability to raise capital. When Hello Alice was first sued in August 2023, she and co-founder Carolyn Rods were in the middle of closing a Series C funding round. Within 2 days of notifying investors about the lawsuit, the entrepreneurs lost 2/3 of the entire round. A Series C investment round is money that goes into a successful company. There are multiple levels. There's early stage investing, which is what it sounds like, trying to get the business to be a stable business, a permanent organization. There's Series A, B, and C. Hello Alice had made it up to the level of Series C. Series C rounds are when investors inject capital into successful businesses in an effort to receive more than double that amount back. Series C funding focuses on scaling the company, growing as quickly and successfully as possible. So they had made it, which is very difficult to do in business. They had success. They could have raised the money. But now they're caught up in a lawsuit with Stephen Miller that you can't win. You can't possibly win. End the lawsuit. Settle with Stephen Miller. Get your investors back. I want to call this woman right now. And the damage may not be entirely done. The plaintiffs are pushing the suit toward class action status, which Gore believes could set a dangerous precedent. In essence, she said, it opens the door so that any white male can sign on to the lawsuit for damages. The legal battle exposes how some of America's deepest culture wars are bleeding into business. This is what happens when you don't settle a lawsuit that obviously you've lost. But the venture capital funded gaps between the races is never a legal or moral justification to exclude certain men and women from public programs by race or ethnicity, according to Edward Blum, president of the American Alliance for Equal Rights. The American Alliance for Equal Rights believes it is legally permissible to provide benefits to businesses and individuals who are undersourced, but those benefits must be made available to all races and ethnicities. Hello Alice's attorney is Neil Katyal, a former principal duty solicitor general of the United States who is often on MSNBC and is one of those political lawyers who has been involved in affirmative action cases in the U.S. Supreme Court over the past 25 years and for the past 7 represented Yale University in its high-profile admissions lawsuits. Quote, every minute they're spending on this lawsuit is a minute they're spending not doing what they want to do, which is helping business owners. Katyal, why would you not recommend they settle this lawsuit and stop? Let them publicly apologize for discriminating against people and let them know they need to stop. Given that funding support for some of these conservative groups continues to grow, America First Legal Foundation reportedly raised $44 million in 2022. Katyal expects there to be an onslaught of upcoming litigation. Ultimately, he says, the motives of these groups are to scare people away from DEI programs. Last year in July, shortly after the U.S. Supreme Court overturned the use of affirmative action in admittance practices at colleges and universities, Attorneys general from 14 states sent a letter to 100 Fortune 500 CEOs warning them to, quote, refrain from discriminating on the basis of race, whether under the label of diversity, equity, and inclusion or otherwise. Since then, many large companies have notably pulled back on initiatives that were primarily put in place after the death of George Floyd. Last year, Meta, Tesla, DoorDash, Lyft, and Wayfair all cut workers who were part of DEI efforts in recent weeks. Both Zoom and Snap did the same. Now, Fearless Fund and Hello Alice are both talking about going out of business, yet neither firm plans on shuttering anytime soon, at least not of their own free will. Gore says the core revenue driver of Hello Alice, which offers enterprise software to help corporations track, retain, and manage their small business transactions, remains healthy. As for Simone, she says she's focused on looking for investors and in it for the long haul rather than trying to change minds of the corporate partners and investors who pulled out. But if I want to, I could pick up the phone and call them now, Simone says, but I'm not going to use my time and energy over spilled milk. I have to get back out there and find who is willing to cut us a check. Since the lawsuit, Simone notes that JP Morgan and Costco have remained Fearless Fund partners. Through a spokesman, JP Morgan Chase declined to comment on the Fearless Fund case specifically. Even so, the New York-based lender says it, quote, remains committed to supporting business growth and entrepreneurship among underserved communities as part of our mission to help build a more inclusive economy that benefits everyone, which is good for business. Big banks drop DEI. Many other large financial institutions are shutting down their DEI-based investment programs. Last month, Goldman Sachs shut down its diversity-driven investment fund, which it founded in 2018, hoping to invest $1 billion in companies led by women of color. Advocates for DEI initiatives are starting to speak out. Earlier this month, more than a dozen trade groups representing minority business owners across the country sent a letter to Fortune 500 CEOs asking them not to give in to political pushback or the threat of legal action. When you're the CEO of a public company, you actually do have to pay attention to political issues, but even more importantly, to potential legal action, because it's not your money. It's not your company. You're just the chief executive officer of the company. In fact, anytime you take on money from an investor, it's no longer just your company. You have to consider the other people who invested in the company. That should provide some semblance of hope for the founders on the front lines of this war against DEI. Quote, so I have the current industry, the macroeconomic climate, the affirmative action ruling in June, the attack on DEI, and now on top of that, my company is in litigation, says Simone. I have 5 things, a whole hand, but guess what? A hand is powerful because it creates a fist, and I'm going to continue to fight. Simone has a fist. Why is Simone like this? Well, I can't tell you exactly why, but I can tell you I came across this article in Time. It's partly because her father was a lawyer for Rosa Parks. From Time magazine, the Fearless Fund is investing in women of color and fighting in court. When Arian Simone was growing up in Detroit, it was her job to check on one of her father's legal clients every afternoon. That client was Rosa Parks. She was quite a lady, you hear me? Just this incredible human being, Simone says. Little did Simone know that she too would be one day engaged in a civil rights battle. So she's being compared here as equivalent to Rosa Parks. Who's Rosa Parks? Rosa Parks invigorated the struggle for racial equality when she refused to give up her bus seat to a white man in Montgomery, Alabama. Parks' arrest on December 1st, 1955 launched a Montgomery bus boycott by 17,000 black citizens. What Rosa Parks did was heroic. Rosa Parks went to jail twice. On December 1st, 1955, Rosa Parks was arrested for disorderly conduct and violation of a Montgomery, Alabama segregation code. Segregation. That's really what it was about. Keeping people separate from other people. Creating 2 societies and maintaining 2 societies. A black society and a white society. I like to believe in the best in people, but unfortunately, the Fearless Fund, Hello Alice, are confused about what it means to have equality in society. You can never guarantee equality of outcomes. Never. Except that eventually we all pass away. We're all born, we all pass away. What comes in between? There's no way to make equal. We all have different life experiences. We all have different situations. We're all equal in the eyes of God. No matter how much people try to segregate society and keep people away from each other, it's in people's nature to treat each other equally and to treat each other well. And that's the thing we should all strive for is equality, merit, opportunity. Fearless Fund will lose their lawsuit. Hello Alice will lose their lawsuit. They should pick up the phone. They should call Edward Blum. They should call Stephen Miller, apologize, say, hey, I didn't realize what I was doing was wrong. I didn't do it intentionally. and beg them to settle the lawsuit so you can go on with your business and help people on an equal basis without discriminating based on skin color, gender, or any other reason. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments below. Always love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.